Hey everyone, Tom Quee here, riding solo to give you a quick recap of what was a fucking mind-blowingly good event yesterday. That was Don't Flop's 8th birthday pre-party at the Engine Rooms. This is the afternoon, post the evening before, and I'm just going to give you kind of a little talk through really about what happened, interesting things that went down. I wasn't just there as a spectator this time. Don't Flop kindly enough, through Ryan Morgan I should say especially, they asked me to come do the interviews for them, the post-battle interviews, the pre-battle interviews, and they were fantastic as well. But you know, we'll get onto that. Let's walk through what was just a fantastic start to what I'm sure is going to be a legendary weekend for the company. So it starts off with me getting there, fairly on time sort of thing. I had to rush off work, and it was a place called, I don't really know London that well. It's in Bow, which is like East London. So my coach gets me to Victoria, and then I have to get on the tube for like 40 minutes or whatever. But regardless, I get there, or I think I'm getting there. I seem to be following my Google Maps, and I go around to the back of the residence, and I encounter two people that I think are going to be quite memorable on this card when it comes out on YouTube. In the same way that blonde kid is synonymous with Sunburn too, I think these two girls will probably be recognised for years to come. So I was at the back of the venue, I should say how I met them, was at kind of the back of the venue following Google Maps. It kind of takes you down a road and you don't really realise where you are. And I was kind of checking my phone, and suddenly these two girls sort of approached me. I could tell they were pretty fucked from the beginning, really. Very friendly, very, very, very open. They asked me if I'm going to the Don't Flop event. They're very excited. This is their first event. They love Lunacy and Blizzard. No judgment here. That's their favourites. Kind of made me smile when they said that, because I just thought back to Luna, and Luna talking about how some people will quote his bars for him on Twitter and such that he doesn't think are funny, like your mom looks like Mickey Worthless. And just as I was thinking that, in a kind of weird bit of anecdotal evidence of synchronicity, one of the girls shouted, "Your mom looks like Mickey Worthless," and they both started screaming with laughter. So perhaps this sets the precedent for their little interruptions, but we'll get onto that. So we eventually walk around the corner and find our way to the venue. It's being Engine Rooms. Never been there before. I don't think Don't Flop have ever been there before. They should definitely go back. It was a fucking fantastic venue in many, many ways. Awesome vibe to it. So yeah, it's kind of like almost like a bomb raid shelter, like our very own bunker. It's kind of got a thin corridor that leads out from the front into a wider room with a kind of soundproof door. It's very much got a kind of rehearsal space. Anyone when they were younger, I was saying to someone there, it reminded me when I was a teenager, we would like rehearse in these kind of places where they have the drum kit and the big Marshall stacks and the PA, and you pay 20 quid for 2 hours or whatever, and it had that vibe, but it was bigger than those sort of standard rooms, and it could accommodate, I think, 150 people were there. So it was an excellent kind of tribute to the kind of expansion of Don't Flop, especially on this pre-party stage. So I get there, chatting to a few people. The first person that I spoke to was Rob Wilson, actually. We sort of caught up. He inevitably, these battlers, they want to spit you their bars, and God, I want to hear them, like especially when they're reared up before battle and stuff like that. So we went outside and he spat me his round. I didn't realise that the Big T battle wasn't going to be 3 rounds, but fuck me, it doesn't matter. But we'll get onto that. That's such a good battle. But yeah, it's just 1 round, so he spat me his 5-6 minutes, and I thought it was absolutely terrific. Like I kind of knew it was going to hit from then. Like it was kind of interesting. Like that was the last battle. This was before even the first battle had gone down, and I kind of had Rob's verse in my head, and there were certain lines that I was thinking to myself, like I'm pretty sure that is going to be a room shaker. And it seemed spot on for the most. Like the crowd were worshipping Rob and Big T, and it was just kind of a triumphant end to an awesome night. So I get into the venue, which awesome, like kind of a the stage kind of forward facing kind of thing. So you have kind of the elevated kind of what would be a band area, and then you could have the standing prior. And the first battle that kicked off was two people that I wasn't really aware of, to be honest with you. This is the people from Headhunters. This was Seuss versus Obi Joe. I'd been aware of both of them tangentially, and I think Seuss especially was kind of being not groomed, but the sense that he was going to win this. I think whenever I've seen people talking about Headhunters, is that this guy is something interesting, and I hadn't really seen him before, so this was quite an interesting one to me. And it wasn't a bad battle. Like, there were lines there. Seuss had a great line in his first, sort of talking about how, he's transcending Headhunters, really, because it does have that stigma, £100 or not. It's just kind of almost like the top 8 this year. It's just kind of a slightly lackluster tournament that doesn't really give you a sheen if you win it, I suppose. So, Seuss, he had the "I'm pushing for revival like a paramedic." That was quite nice, quite early on. He was rocking the classic Louis Theroux t-shirt as well. I'm sure many people have seen that. There's BBC blocks and stuff like that. Shout out Louis. And Seuss ended with "early," to kind of anticipate one of the guests who was there, Joe and I, who I got to speak to, but I'll get onto that. Really, really, really awesome guy. And yeah, Obi is kind of interesting. He's kind of got these, slightly older, almost like a sort of slightly more refined Bowski. I mean that in a complimentary way. And I quite liked him. He definitely was a bit different. I think Seuss, I've kind of seen people like him before, and I didn't think the sting was there with Seuss necessarily. I thought Obi had a bit more punches to him and stuff like that. It wasn't an amazing battle. To be honest with you, I felt the rounds were short as well. I realised they're doing a lot of battles in a short amount of time. I'm not familiar with the Headhunters thing, so, excuse me if I'm being a little bit iconoclastic here, but I didn't really feel the vibe that much. But, I felt Obi won. I felt Obi had more lines overall. I didn't really like Seuss's third. His angle was kind of like Obi's in this, ska rap band or whatever, and it's like, oh, so? Like that, that sounds kind of cool. I realise you have to take angles and whatever, and you wouldn't necessarily criticise him out of a battle, but didn't really hit with me, but clearly hit with the judges, because Seuss takes it 3-0 and goes through to the next round, which, not undeserving. Maybe I'll watch that back and think it differently, but I thought at the time Obi was just a bit more different for me. A bit more unique. I'd like to see more of his style, and I think Seuss's style is slightly more, familiar. But regardless, very, very exciting that Seuss is into the final. Afterwards, actually went up to Obi and told him that I thought that he won, and I think he was quite surprised. So maybe I'm in the anomaly here. Even he doesn't think that, but yeah. Interesting battle. And then we hopped into the next battle, which is one that I'm incredibly excited for. Obviously, you had Crafty on the show many times, a good friend, big fan of his writing style. Speaking to a girl prior, Linda, and we were talking about it, and we both kind of felt that Crafty was very underrated, and it was kind of almost not silly, but it was just like, why is he battling XQZ? Like no shade on XQZ. Obviously, I had Crafty and XQZ on the show as well. We spoke for 40 minutes on their battle, which was maybe slightly too lengthy, but yeah, this was a good one. And XQZ started his first very, very well. Like, I was very, very impressed with him. You do think that he's an absolute no-name in the context of Don't Flop. He battled here 5 years ago against Matter. Like, these can always be difficult. There's no real sense of legacy for him coming onto stage, but he did really, really well. He kind of starts with the kind of building this sort of cinematic narrative, and he kind of admitted it was quite bizarre, which was, I mean, even admitting it bizarre still makes it a bizarre choice. It wasn't necessarily the most hard-hitting thing here, but, lots of craft stuff that did well. Everyone online boarded this bitch craft like a Pinterest board, and he Alfred Hitchcock stopping by to make a mark in the scene, which got pretty slept on. But if anyone's aware, Alfred Hitchcock famously has like minor cameos in all of his films. Like on Strangers on the Train, he's just a guy coming off. I think he's coming off with like a cello or something, and you just see him for 1 second. But obviously, it's fucking Hitchcock. So that was a great reference. But I mean, why would that hit? It's just kind of something that I liked in a kind of nerdy way. But Craft was killing it, especially his first and second. I thought it was sort of Liv Winter, Jay Short tier sort of stuff. His third was more contextual, Trump America, which XQZ kind of anticipated in his third as well, slightly neutralised it somewhat, but regardless. And this is the battle that I think the girls are going to be known for as well. They're at the front, they're very excited, and it's fine. Like regardless, I'm not putting any shame on that, but they were just quite drunk and overreacting to things. And I was speaking to Crafty afterwards, and he said himself that he was noticing them throughout, and he wanted to flip something about them, anticipating that they would be, the focus of comment sections, which I thought would have been great. He didn't do that, but power to him for just keeping the cool, because I imagine that is quite difficult to just spit around anyway, regardless if two people are kind of slurring and being a little bit obnoxious in the front. X also slipped up, in various places here, and it's a common thing. There's many contributing factors. A little disappointing for him. He resurrected it in parts, and it wasn't necessarily a bad performance from him. I thought he did well, but I just think Craft kind of outclassed him. Maybe the first is close, but Craft is also very, very good in the first. But I think throughout, there's just some excellent stuff. He does just, great craft stuff. The Steven Gerrard kind of slipping and losing your title sort of stuff. The Champions League. It's craft stuff, you know what I mean? It's that sort of stuff that's going down. And at this point as well, Swave Sever enters the building, which was incredible. It's quite a crowded room, so as the door opens, you always kind of turn and who is it? And like, it kind of seemed to echo through like, Swave. And he was like, where the weed at? He just kind of saying that, which is, a fair thing to say, to be honest with you. And he was just sort of hanging out watching the battle, and it kind of hit me then that, oh fuck, this is actually 8th birthday. Like, we're at a pre-party and these battles are kind of minor, but there are some giants, on this card, and really cool to see Swave there. It was at this point, unfortunately, that I pretty much didn't see lots and lots of the battles. Like, I can kind of give you a bit of a slightly recap from what I heard. So I missed Danny Jack versus RAWWZ. Apparently Danny won that. RAWWZ's third is insane. I'd heard RAWWZ's first before, Out next in line, as I mentioned prior, and apparently they didn't pop off much. I can't really comment on this battle too much because I just didn't see it. PEDRO and LUMINOUS is the same. JAYBE and MHILLZ the same. I just didn't see these battles. I'm hearing LUMINOUS was fantastic. I actually met LUMINOUS in the backstage room that I'll just get onto, and seems like a really, really great guy, and I'm really happy that the battle popped off because his battle with Stephen Kang was sick. But yeah, I was doing the interviews for Don't Flop, so they just kind of almost a backstagey kind of room, which is just a room just off the side where all the battlers were chilling that, and Ryan Morgan pulled me in, and we just started doing interviews. I'm holding the camera and just kind of I was trying to be a little bit not combative, but prodding, not towing the line between a Steph and a read between the bars, aware of the Steph standing on the soldiers of giants there, aware of what's gone before me, but trying to do something different. And I've got to admit, I was pretty fucked up by this point of the night. So the first interview was with Crafty, but that was a really, really good interview. I felt we went deep on the XQZ stuff, and after that I was told that it was going to be Danny, JAQQ and RAWWZ were going to come in, so I was just kind of sitting there in the room with a few people waiting, and then out of nowhere Hoffa enters, Math Hoffa in the building, so that was, and Ryan's just like, you want to interview Math Hoffa? And I was like, well fuck yeah, of course. So, and we went for like 15 minutes. You ask anyone that was there, I can't wait for this footage to drop. Math is the fucking most charismatic, funny, interesting guy. He actually recognised me when I said battlerapresume, because he'd listened to the episode because of Shocks. Obviously Shocks battle didn't happen, which was crazy, man. And Math, yeah, just really, really humorous guy. We had a great back and forth. I tried to prod him on a few things, his kind of identity in London, his music, his fashion. He kind of dictated a lot of it, but it was a fantastic interview. And from there, really, I was just having lots and lots of people on the couch. We had ZAIN, obviously ZAIN free-owed Bear Solutions, another battle that I missed when I was doing this. I had Bear on as well, ZAIN and Bear together. Them outside, Danny came in with the ZAIN battle. I don't really want to spoil too much. Ryan said that what most likely is going to happen is they're kind of going to take sound bites, because I asked them a lot of the similar questions. How are you finding the event? What are you looking forward to? How is London, etc., etc. And I'm probably going to do that into a mega cut. But I've asked Ryan if in the future, maybe in a few months or whatever, it doesn't have to happen soon, that I can just get the uncut footage of those interviews, because they were really good. Like each one we probably spoke for 5-6 minutes, and some of them were funny. Like I think the Danny, JAQQ one and the Hoffa one were really funny, but had Chiller, had Danger, had Swave, Sever, got loads of people involved, and it was just really unique and a great opportunity. I just want to thank Don't Flop again. It was fucking awesome to just be there and just chatting to these guys and holding the Don't Flop mic in my hand, and really, really excited for everyone that listens to battlerapresume to watch this. I think you're in for a treat. It was a definite delight on my part. So we just kept doing the interviews and going outside and kind of chilling with the battlers, and then being pulled in for whatever, and trying to get people to get involved and stuff like that. And everyone wanted to be involved, which was fucking awesome. I actually spoke to Jonai as well, as I said. I was trying. I think Danny, JAQQ versus RAWWZ was going on, and I was going in to see it. And then I asked just some guy at the door. I was like, "Oh, what battle isn't it?" He's like, "Oh, I think it's Danny, JAQQ and RAWWZ." I was like, "Oh fucking hell, it's Jonai!" Like in my head, I was like, "Shit, it's Jonai." And then I kind of paused, and I was about to go in for the battle, and then I was like, Jonai's just here, I should just talk to Jonai. So I went up to Jonai, I was like, "Oh, I love the Daylight battle, man." He was like, "Oh, did you watch it? Thanks, man." And then we just had a really lovely talk, about 20 minutes. We spoke about kind of URL and how Mike P is Jonai, and how they're just giving Mike P what they would have gave Jonai, and Jonai's talking about the things he was offered, and Jonai, speaking about going to the bunker and stuff like that. Absolutely lovely guy, really humble, really friendly, really open, wanted to just talk about battling, clearly loved being there, apparently is majorly prepped for Raptor. I can't fucking wait to see that. But yeah, all the battlers were great, and all the people were great. It was rammed. I think, as I say, I think it's like 150 people, small venue, had a great atmosphere in the room. And we get onto the final battle, the headliner, the worthy headliner, Rob Wilson versus Big T, which was, fucking stunning battle, I have to say. Everyone was in the mood for it. I was lucky enough to get on stage at this point, so I kind of got to watch it from a vantage point. Rob goes first. Rob is obviously on his clowning steez, no problem about it. That kind of ironic flair there, but no doubt it was fantastic from him. Really, really involving. The material that I thought would hit. Lots of stuff, lots of pauses, lots of great theatricality from him. PG stepping to a certain extent. I fucking love PG stepping, to be honest with you. And Rob didn't do it to an explicit standard, but it was still really awesome performance. And T as well. I remember we're in the backstage room. I didn't actually get an interview with T and Rob Wilson, unfortunately, because we didn't have the mic at the time, but that would have been great. But we were in the room, this was maybe an hour before the battle had kicked off or something like that, and Big T was there and was there, and Big T was like, "Yo, I'm feeling sleepy, man." And was like, "You better not be feeling sleepy, man." He was quite stern with him, which I was kind of, oh shit, league owner, you know what I mean? But I felt that. I felt where he's coming from. He was kind of not scolding him, but just you're here to battle sort of thing. And fuck, man, T was awake. T was extraordinary. It was a treat to see him really so close up. Obviously this guy's been unknown and some man at the biggest stages in the world, and here he is in this little faux bunker in Bow, and he was just murdering it, absolutely murdering it. It's a terrific battle. If I was maybe to give it, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I was more familiar with Rob's rounds because he spat them to me and then I heard them. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased there. But T, anyone who listens to this podcast knows that I'm a sucker for Nicktoon bars. He had an incredible Real Monsters bar. Go on Facebook. I posted a picture on there and quoted some of the bars. I think he's like, gave voice to this wiener, like sausage party and shit like that. And like he got up in his face as well, the dreads flying, really getting bolshy with it. And, shout out to Big T as well. Awesome guy, awesome, lovely guy. And with that, it was concluded. It was just a one-rounder. I think the event finished quite late, but no one really gave a fuck. The vibe was great. I don't think anyone was like bored waiting around. Everyone was just rocking with it. And, the bar was cheap as well at the engine rooms. I've got a feeling Don't Flop will probably return there a few times. It definitely should be a training days event or something next year, because it just popped up massively. And with that, it ended. Everyone kind of went their separate ways. I actually went home with Rob Wilson. We got an Uber together, and there was a weird situation where it was like 3 a.m. or something, and I don't know, maybe I'm not really too familiar with Uber, so I think I might have put it for a car share or something. I don't really know like that. So anyway, we pick up this kind of older couple, not older, they're maybe like mid-40s. We start speaking to them, husband and wife. They've been out for like a meal or something. They're really, really nice. And the guy, especially, who's sitting in the back of us, the wife's in the front, is really interested in battle rap. We're sort of telling him about it, and me and Rob just kind of gave him a clinic on what it is, the different leagues, how you write it, because obviously people ask all those questions, so they're like, oh, is it rehearsed? Do you mean it? And he was like, oh, it's on YouTube. Oh, there's a crowd. Oh, la, la, la. And I remember when we left at Victoria Station and they drove on, our parting words were just search battle rap on YouTube, search it. And I think he's going to. So sir, whoever you are, I hope you enjoy those battles. But yeah, 8th birthday pre-party, smashing success. If you're listening to this in the future, go onto the Don't Flop, or probably on Don't Flop Extra, go onto the channel, the Training Days channel, and check out all the interviews that went down, the Danger Zone, the Chiller, the Swave, the Math. Just Math. It was that Math one was probably my favourite, actually, especially the stuff about I mentioned that Chiller Jones sells slippers, and Math just went in, and it was like, and then Chiller kind of rebutted later in the interview really well, so that was funny to have them sort of diametric opposites going at it. But yeah, all the interviews, all the battles, Don't Flop, ending the year fucking strong. This has been Tom, Battle Rap Resume. I appreciate this hasn't been exhaustive. Obviously, I did miss quite a few of the battles doing interviews, but some of them I did miss. I heard Luminous was insane against PEDRO. I also heard JAYBE beat T-MHILLZ quite comfortably. Apparently, T-MHILLZ had a few chokes. I'm not really familiar with him. I think he's been on Jeezy and stuff like that. I have to look into that. But obviously there will be a full recap. I'm not going to the 2nd and 3rd day of 8th birthday, but many people that I know are. I'm sure Ryan Morgan and maybe a few of us will be involved. But yeah, please follow us at BattleRapResume. Get in contact with me, battleresume@gmail.com. We out of here.